It's Valerie from the Highland Homestead again. This is part two of the coronavirus special. I'm trying to make suggestions to help you grow a few things through this difficult time. Last time we spoke about a small area of land. Today I wanted to give you some idea on what containers you could grow things in. But before I do that, I realised when I watched the video through yesterday that I hadn't actually told you how to make compost. I'd suggested that you collect nettles and made liquid compost and collect comfrey leaves if you can find them and make comfrey compost. But I forgot to mention that if you live by the seaside, you're in a very envious position because I'd love to be able to collect seaweed. If you collect seaweed from the high water line, give it a rinse, get the salt off, and then do the same process with that, stick it in a bucket, fill it with water, you get a fantastic seaweed fertiliser. I have to buy it. Nonetheless, I'm glad I've still got a bit in there. So that is the liquid compost. Now, you can also make proper compost. What you need first of all is a container of some kind. Now, this can be whatever you like. A lot of us have, for example, containers like this. I don't know if you can see it, just when I use in my shed to hold things in. If you were to drill holes in the bottom first and catch the liquid, if you can, that will come out, then you need to do things like you put layers in the bottom. You can start it off with a little bit of soil of some sort. That would be ideal. And what we do is we put in the compost stuff like this. Now on this side, this is just vegetable peelings, bits of cucumber, aubergines that we had last night for dinner, which were very nice, tomatoes, any vegetable peelings you can think of, mushrooms, and tea bags, coffee grounds. If you're going to use tea bags, you need to take this paper off because often it's plastic, and just use the bits inside. In fact, if you kept that separate and dried it, you can have a sort of a version of peat, if you like. I know we don't use peat, that's a dirty word, but a version of that sort of thing, and you can just put that around the top of your plants. But anyway, put it in your compost, that's excellent. Coffee grounds, really good. Eggshells are brilliant, there are a lot of calcium in them. Could actually just directly dry them out and crunch them up and put them around tomato plants if you wanted to. If you've got old pot plants that are past their best and have had it, tip that in, you know, got some soil there, don't waste it. If it's good, just use it anyway, have another go with it, but you can put it into the compost, that's ideal. Now, you don't just want green stuff in your compost because it will just go yuck. So what you do is you make alternative layers of green and brown. There are ratios, but I think for this we don't need to worry too much. The brown can be things like straw. If you've got pets, if you've got little hamsters, I wouldn't suggest that you use the stuff from snakes and iguanas and rats and different things people have. Stuff that eat meat, don't use their drop-ins or anything. But if you've got hamsters or guinea pigs or rabbits, you're made. That's fantastic. So a layer of straw or wood shavings. Wood shavings aren't really ideal because they do take a bit longer to break down, but if you've got nothing else, use them. But something we all seem to have a lot of, cardboard. Break it up small and put a layer, for every layer of green stuff, put a layer of brown, ideal. Now sometimes you need a starter to get a compost going. You can use some of the liquid feeds we've talked about. You don't want to soak the compost with anything, but it does need a little water and it needs to be in the warm. So, and it will leak. So as I say, if you can possibly put a tray underneath to catch that liquid, You can just pour it back in over the top and that will carry on the cycle. And within no time, especially if you can keep it somewhere warm, you'll find that you've got compost to use, which is what we want. If by the time you're planting something like runner beans and the compost is still a little bit iffy, you know, you're not too happy with it, you can top it with some bought-in compost if you've managed to get some, or some soil from the garden, and you can just top the compost off with that and plant your beans straight onto it, because they're very greedy feeders and they love it. Something like this, if this is half full of compost, fill it up with your soil, put a cane on each corner so it's something for your beans to grow up, and they'll romp away. Make sure there's holes in the bottom, because otherwise they'll drown. You could also put something like a marrow or a courgette in there on top of the compost that's not quite finished, and that'll be brilliant. That's the compost over and done with. Sorry, I forgot that the other day. I don't know what's the matter. Right, now, what else can you use? The obvious thing to grow in are pots, aren't they, or trays. Now, this sort of tray, not very deep, as you can see, but you can grow salads in them. All last year, I grew salads in all of my trays. These are a very good little tray to use, so I would encourage you to grow all your salads and stuff like that in them, if you've got room. If you've got just a table near a window, they'll go. If you can put something like a row of foil behind them to reflect the light, they'll grow away with no problem. Or you can put them on your patio. You probably better put them up on a table on the patio to keep the slugs off. Or you could put them on your balcony if you have a balcony. Excellent little things. You can find a way of stacking them, you know, the couple of foot between them, no problem. So that's the trays, because I wanted something a bit deeper so I could experiment with more types of props. And we had some flooring left over that we'd had put down. Didn't know what to do with it, so I thought I'd make oak boxes, which is a bit posh really, isn't it? But still, saved it going on the fire. So now I've got boxes that are about 4 inches deep. I put some capillary matting in the bottom to hold water. And I've got them planted up here. I've got lettuce in these ones. I've got different lettuce there. Under that, I've got red salad bowl coming up, just breaking through. Lamb's lettuce here. Red kale over here, because you can use that as a leaf as well. These are my other little pots that have got to go out. So trays are an excellent thing to grow in. If you haven't got trays, what you're going to use? Mushroom boxes, make holes in the bottom. That is a good half-size tray, they are really good. So any box like this, have a look round, be inventive, have a think what you could do. You can also just use plastic bags. Just put 2 together, roll the top down like that. You've got a planting pocket. Plant something, you can put lettuce seeds in there, so you keep it firm at the bottom. Lettuce seeds, whatever. Another thing you could use is something like this, an oatmeal pot. Drill some holes or cut some holes in the bottom like that. Slice the top. Bend it back. In there you put your compost. You've already got a reflector on there, and you can plant your seeds. That would grow 2 or 3 little lettuces or radish. It's quite deep, so the world's your oyster. Have a go. I'm sure you've got loads of different containers that you could use. Now, another way we can grow plant is on the kitchen windowsill. If that's all you've got, use your kitchen windowsill. Use pots like this. They're a standard size. 115mm, 4.5 inches. A little bit bigger than the ones you would get from the supermarket for herbs, but you know, the herb ones would be just as good. In those pots I'm planning to grow herbs. I got things like chives, basil, coriander, parsley, dill. Dill is such a pretty herb to grow. If you was to put that in your border, you know, we were talking about potager last time, that would be very pretty. I'm going to be growing herbs in these on my windowsill, but you could put lettuce in them, or I seem to be stuck on lettuce, I don't know. Anything you like, you could grow in them. Stumpy carrots, you'll be able to grow long carrots, but you could grow the short ones. So if you've got hanging baskets, we often have them nowadays, don't we? I use these in the tunnel to grow tomatoes and early strawberries. Same thing, you could grow a salad bowl in the top. You could put it's a bit early to put my tomatoes in yet, so I've not got one planted up to show you. But whatever you grow in a pot, you could grow in here as well. Don't put them outside just yet though. Not things like tomatoes, please. Don't put them out yet because it's too soon. But you can use your hanging baskets. You could obviously make yourself some trays as well if you have any flooring left about. If you want to grow potatoes though, what are you going to grow those in? How about a nice carrier bag? I'm not going to use this one because I've only just bought it and I like it. You may not be able to get seed potatoes, but I had a look through my potatoes bag the other day. These are Desiree, and if you see, they've got nice eyes on the top. You only need 2 of them. You don't even need a whole one. You could actually cut that in half, use half of it for your dinner. When it's dried across the bottom, use the other half. So you need to line the bag first with about 10 to 15 centimetres of soil, around 4 to 6 inches. Put your potatoes in. You only need 2 for a bag this size. Cover them with the soil and a little bit of water and watch for them to sprout. As soon as they start sending up the shoots, put a little bit more soil on them or compost, whatever you've got to hand. And you do that for as long as you want to. As soon as it grows flowers, that's when it's ready to harvest. And you'll be surprised how many potatoes you can get out of it. There's an array of things you can try here to keep your family at least eating a little bit of vitamins and green over the next few weeks. Hopefully this virus is going to be over and we can all go back to our normal life. But until then, this is something for you to try. It'll give you something to do instead of just sitting twiddling your thumbs worrying. Please stay safe. Please stay well. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell for me if you can, so you don't miss the next one. Until I see you again, this is it from Valerie at the Homestead. Bye bye for now.